Information Security Management Program. Information Security Management Program is a process focused on design, implementation, and maturity of security practices that are required to protect critical business processes as well as IT assets in an enterprise. In this module, you will learn about information assurance and the different threats to systems and their effective countermeasures. By the end of this module, you'll be able to explain information assurance, describe threat modeling, explain enterprise information security architecture, explain network security zoning, and explain multi-layered security. Information assurance, or IA, refers to steps taken to protect information and information systems by ensuring their confidentiality, integrity, availability, authentication, and non-repudiation. Information security, or IS, refers to the protection of information systems from illegitimate access, use, alteration, disruption, and destruction. Information assurance and information security are the two interchangeably used terms, but information security can be thought of as a large subset of IA. Information security uses security methods, policies, and processes to secure information. It only focuses on securing the information, but information assurance ensures quality, reliability, and accessibility in addition to security of the information. The table lists the differences between information assurance and information security. Threat modeling is defined as a procedure that identifies the vulnerabilities in a network to optimize network security, decide the preventive measures, and to remove the after effects of attack on the system. The three main elements covered in the threat modeling are assets. These are resource or data that need to be protected. Threat. It is a malicious technique which an attacker can use on a system. Vulnerability. It is a weakness or flaw in a system which can be exploited. Threat modeling can be approached in three different ways, which are software-centric. In this approach, data flow diagrams, use case diagrams are designed to define the threats to each component and ways to mitigate it. Attacker-centric. This approach uses the characteristics and skill set of an attacker to define the goals, various assets which can be exploited, how an attack be carried out, and then implementing a mitigation strategy. Risk or asset-centric. In this approach, the assets of an organization are classified according to the magnitude of the risk presented by the attacker. Threat modeling is a 5-step process. Let us take a look at each step in a bit detail. First step is identifying security objectives. Security objectives need to be figured out for software development, business leadership, and the quality assurance teams. Security objectives should be further classified into different categories to ensure a smoother functioning. They are identity. It is necessary to check whether there are provisions in an application that can protect user identity from any form of abuse. It is imperative to have controls that can facilitate this provision, useful in banking-related applications especially. Financial. Understand the level of risk involved for the organization in case of any critical financial loss. For example, a form application would be at less risk as compared to an e-commerce application. Reputation. Estimate or gauge the loss in terms of organizational reputation during any incident of compromise or misuse of the application. Privacy and regulatory. The extent to which the protection of user data is required. The form software is public in nature, but an application for tax preparation needs to implement tax regulations and privacy legislation. Guarantees. It is necessary for ensuring whether the application should be available based on SLA or service level agreement or any other similar guarantee. It is important to check whether the infrastructure is protected and to which extent the application can be made available. Higher availability techniques are very expensive, and so the application of right controls can save a good amount of money, resources, and time. Now let us understand the second step, application overview. Once the security objectives are clearly defined, it becomes necessary to analyze the design of the application to be able to identify trust boundaries, data flows, and components of the application. Design documentations and architecture of the application should be surveyed for analyzing the application. Unified modeling language component diagrams help in understanding the path and reason for the data flowing to different parts in any application. For instance, the flow of data across trust boundaries should be analyzed closely. However, if there is a data flow within a trust level, it does not need much monitoring. Now, the third step, decompose application. After understanding the application architecture, it is necessary to analyze the application further so that is easier to evaluate those modules and features that come with higher security impact. For instance, to investigate the authentication module, acquiring clarity on facts such as the entry points of data to the module, data validation style, and processing within the module to which the data is forwarded, data storage, and the assumptions and the decisions made towards the module become critical. The fourth step is identify threats. In this step, identify known threats using the information collected previously. You should keep the goals of an attacker in mind. Identify and then classify the threats into network, host, and application threats. The fifth step is identifying vulnerabilities. Once these threats have been identified and dealt with, we can then recognize the vulnerabilities or weaknesses in an application based on their origin. The different reasons for an attack are accidental discovery. These are functional mistakes in the application which may drop any ordinary user to gain access to the privileged information and functionality. Automated malware. These are scripts and programs which search for vulnerabilities in the application and then report that back to a collection site. Curious attacker. It is the vulnerability which occurs due to some flaw in your application that can get discovered by any ordinary user or security researcher who pursues further with it. Motivated attacker. This vulnerability is caused by an unhappy staff member who has inside knowledge or can be caused by a professional attacker who is paid to do it. Organized crime. This is done by criminals who expect to make huge monetary benefits by cracking into corporate banking applications or e-commerce applications. A recent case of WannaCry ransomware attack is an example of an organized cybercrime. Enterprise Information Security Architecture, EISA, is used to outline the present and future structure as well as the behavior of security processes of an organization. It is also used to describe information security systems, personal subunits, and organizational subunits that support the goal of an organization. EISA always helps and guides an organization to improve its information security and reduce the possibility of loss or misuse of data. Benefits of EISA are: it identifies the activities which are needed to strengthen the information security systems and provides various ways to increase the security of data. It also helps the organization in identifying the important security controls, which makes auditing easier for them. and it helps to develop projects based on the architecture, which is easy to manage independently. Now that you have understood information security architecture, let us have a look at the steps of implementing it. First step, gather all information related to data, risk, security, technology, organizational awareness, and policies of the target business. Second step, identify the requirements of high-value information security drivers and specific documentation related to it. Third step, get legal approval for high-priority projects. The fourth step, design a plan for project management. The fifth one is design an initiative towards effective information security implementation. And the last step, which is the sixth one, is identify the efficiency and effectively implement it. Network security zone, otherwise called a network segment, is all about logically grouping the information systems of an enterprise network. Enterprise network can be separated into different network segments that can be easily managed by reducing attack surface, limiting data exfiltration, and compliance scope. In other words, this provides a secure network environment by effectively monitoring and controlling inbound as well as outbound traffic. Let's look at some examples of network security zones. Internet zone. Internet zone is not controlled by any organization. It includes the Internet or any network of service providers and public switch telephone network. It is the place where most of the threats originate from, and it is not a safe zone. External demilitarized zone. External demilitarized zone, or DMZ, is the zone that acts as an interface between the enterprise network and the Internet. Any traffic that targets the Internet should go through this zone. It comprises of FTP servers, remote access, which includes services, email gateways, external web, such as servers and web proxy servers. These systems are under close monitoring and are implemented with best security measures to reduce the attack surface. Internal demilitarized zone. Internal DMZ is the zone where the servers of internal applications reside. It mediates the access between systems of enterprise zone or extranet zone as well as the restricted zone. It is necessary for end users to get authenticated before getting access to that data that is hosted in the restricted zone. Enterprise zone. Enterprise zone is the part where the system of end users such as VoIP, phones, printers, and workstations exist. It is necessary to implement endpoints protection so that the endpoint systems do not get compromised. Extranet zone. Extranet zone is the extension of enterprise zone, which comprises of third-party business partners of high trust. Traffic that flows between extranet and enterprise zone should be filtered and monitored within the perimeter of extranet zone so that only the approved traffic leaves or enters the zone. Restricted zone. Restricted zone is the most sensitive zone among the network segments. It consists of intellectual property, such as database servers, consistent human resource, user, and service-related sensitive database. Management zone. Management zone comprises of all systems that manage the network, including fault management system, configuration management system, count management system, performance monitoring system, and security management system. This zone is highly prone to attacks, as compromising the zone can provide the hacker with the access to all the other zones in the enterprise network. Defense in depth is the concept of network security in which there are several layers of protection. For instance, when an attacker tries to breach the security in one layer, he will be unable to breach the next protected layer. It provides a multi-layer security for the data and system from direct attacks. Let us look at each layer in detail. Data. It is the main target of an attacker. This includes databases, files, and Active Directory service information. Application. It is the software which can be used to manipulate or destroy data. Host. It is the computer that stores the data and uses the applications. Internal network. It is the network that operates, stores, and shares data within the organization. Perimeter. It is a network that connects the personal network of the organization to another network. Physical. This category includes all the physical devices such as servers, hard disks, switches, and networks. Policies, procedures, awareness. The overall administrating policies, procedures, and awareness of the security approach in any organization. Now, you have learned about Information Security Management Program. Let's check your understanding of this section. Which of the following layers of defensive position is a network that connects the personal network of the organization to another network? Perimeter is a network that connects the personal network of the organization to another network. This concludes the Information Security Management Program module. Let's take a minute to review the key points you have learned in this module. I will pause for a few seconds to allow you to read it. Thank you.